podcast you cheer for. Sneaker business talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast.
All right, it's on once again. It's the Soul Material Podcast, the podcast you cheer for. It's T Mark, the Street Shark.
And the OGEO.
All right, and we are here for some sneaker business talk. And we're going to give you that classic clarity over the popularity with this special art of acquisition episode. And it's so special. It's so nostalgic. We've teased it. We've talked about it in so many different forms in previous episodes that we had to make it its own episode. So for this one, I had to get extra special. So shout out to my friends over at the Washington Wizards that got this bucket hat. You know, that's our home team. So I had to throw the bucket on because we're about to talk about the phone order era. It's that much of an era. Like we had to get in our B-boy stance to really dig into this one, and go in about just the experience of, picking up the phone and calling to try to buy some shoes, some clothes, that sweatsuit, that velour, or some J's, whatever it was. You had to pick up the phone, reach out and touch somebody. And now with everything that's going on and so much finger touch access that we have in our pocket, that experience it's not going to happen the way that it used to. And what a time to be alive. You had to really know what you're doing and navigating, and you kind of knew who was who, because other than shopping in your regular stores, you had to find a way to get something different. You had to pick up the phone and call some places. So, let me kick it to the OG, get it started, because we got to break down the layers of just even like what the experience was about, what your approach was, and even where you were going and where did you get the information from? Like, how did you know? Because it wasn't online. There's no billboards with the phone number on it. So break it down for him, OG, for us, please.
Man, Tony, again, I got to say it again. What a time to be alive. And the analogy I would like to use, the 8-bit Nintendo, if you had the gun and you played Duck Hunt, if you even had a wheel to just pull the trigger and just have the trigger somewhere near the TV screen, you were going to hit a duck. That's just how easy it was. But if you were the shark and you were on point and you're aiming, you're going to get a perfect score. That's how easy it was during this time. And I'm going to dig into the Nike phone order, particularly because of where things are now. We talked about before the popularity and the demand of kicks right now. It's just gotten crazy. And there was a point in time in our lives, if you were the shark or even half of the shark, you were going to hit eventually. And it was as simple as you having the phone number to your local outlet, Nike outlet, Adidas outlet, what have you. And from
wait a second. Wait, hold on. You got to call Nike.
Yes.
Directly.
Yes.
And they'd answer the phone.
Yes. Not only Nike themselves, but the outlet will answer the phones. Hello, Mr. Bailey. How can we help you? Because after you call them so much, they'll just know your voice. This is even before caller ID. Okay. So I call and I'm like, hey, I have a product number. What do you have here? Let's put you on hold, Mr. Bailey, and someone will be at the register at the store. Have me on hold and I'll say, hey, Mr. Bailey, right now we have these many sizes at this price. Hey, miss, how are you doing? Do you mind looking into your inventory? There's a possibility, given my information, that this shoe can be possibly in Orlando, Florida, or in Nevada, Las Vegas. Well, Mr. Bailey, you're absolutely right. Your 10.5 is actually $50 cheaper if you call Las Vegas, Nevada's outlet. And here is their number. Have a good day. That simple. That was the phone order, but you had to do your work. So where does information come from? As we targeted before, talking about art acquisition, you had to know exactly what you wanted. So having a product number was key. Not only the product number, but the style code number as well. And from there, because of the generosity of the customer service at this time, as I just mentioned, the employees did not mind if they were not busy. And if you were polite, telling you where else to go to get the items. And at this point in time, because the resale game wasn't as thick as it is now, guess what? You can clean out some stores. There were times where I got 15 shoes at one time from 3 different outlets, various sizes. Did I sell a couple of them? Yes. Did I give a couple of them away? Yes. Did I look out for my peoples? Yes. But that was just what we did. And as that evolved, the internet came. You had message boards like In Style Shoes, like a Nike Talk, so forth, a Nike Park. And then you had specific threads about outlets, and this information got disseminated. But it was almost like a secret society, in which is like, hey, I got mine. Holler at me in my email, or it wasn't a DM then. It was, click my screen name and holler at me through my inbox if you want the information. But here you go. So before the vultures came, phone order was the way to go, not only just with shoes, but with clothing as well. And my, from 97, I'll say, to maybe 2010, I got some gems and some threads. Y'all would not believe the price that I paid for them. And again, before the shark talks, let's also mention that not only did you get the outlet price, but any sale that was in the store, 40% off additionally, 50% off additionally, will be added on and was honored with the phone order. Yes. So between that, and depending on the store you were working with, you may even get free shipping depending on how much you were buying, or if you were a certified customer or loyal customer, so forth. So as Shark mentioned in one of our previous episodes, as far as being a loyal customer and having those kind of perks. So again, it was all about having the information that you needed and giving the effort and sitting back. FedEx would be at your door. Your product would be there. If there was any problems whatsoever, the full receipt was in the shoebox or in the package for you to go to another store, do an exchange, or what have you. Of course, because of the age of things, man, I still have original receipts and the ink is off of them. But again, what a time to be alive, because this was the way that the Shark and I kind of got things, because we can predict what was hot and what was not. So why go to Foot Locker and pay full price for something that had a release date when you knew, if you were the Shark, let's give this 3 months and see where we land and see if I can actually hunt. So that's where we were with the phone order. And again, the customer service was great. My hitting percentage is probably 75%. And after probably like 2000 and maybe 9, I realized you had to race the vultures. And that's when things started to crumble. And now Nike does not even fulfill orders online, as far as phone orders, because of just the vulture culture now. So it is what it is. But before all of that, phone orders were convenient, they were fun, and the hunt was real.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, you had to do work to do it. You had to communicate, talk to people, again, acquire knowledge and information. So it's the acquisition of all the logistics long before you acquire any products. And that's what we've always taught you with our staple segment, order acquisition. So with that, when you're getting into the strategy of the phone orders, let me just give you a call back to another previous episode, just showing our homage to East Bay and the direct mail catalog, and just, how much information that they provided, about the shoe, what the materials were, how much it weighed. Also, guess what they provided? Style number, and then you learned about how it's the baseline code, and then for each different color, that last 3 digits or whatever for most of, especially the Nike shoes, that's the color code, right? And then actually you get to know the colors, and then all you need is the base model, because the color codes, they're not really changing if it's the same combination of the colors. So like that was like a tool that you could use to know the style number and then get on the phone, because it was a way better experience with if you had the style number, because then you can get to it and they couldn't like shoo you off the phone, because some people might have been really nice and you'd be like, yo, you got the black and red Jordans, and then which one and what do you look like, like some people would have actually entertained that conversation, but if you were smart, you actually what was that style number? Yeah, that's the one. But so can I write that down? And then you pivot into the conversation of even if they didn't suggest it on their own, but you really want to say, are there more somewhere else, or they're more somewhere close to me? And then when they start telling you that, then you're like, yeah, can you give me that number? And then you would call over, and then you can just boom, here's the number. I know you got it. And it's just more of a, can you verify that the inventory is correct? Because there could be sales in real time that don't reflect while you was on the phone. But just that getting up, calling South Carolina, and then hanging up and calling Florida, and then hang up again and call New Mexico, and then you just walk back like, yeah, I just got them, and you're just savoring that deal, because, and then each store could have that different deal or that different hash. Oh, you about to get to the third store, and you're like, oh, but y'all got the hash wall rule on that one there, like that's not what it was over there, so you might have got that was like the first like sourcing experience. Like the professionals do this to get it into their stores, but like that was like what we were doing. And then just the skills to be able to acquire that, and navigate through, because again, then you get into your chat rooms and forums, and then some people will help you. The good side of it was the people that were helping out, or they give the inventory of their local, and then we're just sharing, and then everyone's just sharing, here's what's at with mine, here's what's at with mine, and then that's just helpful to see what was on sale, and then again, and then the vulturing starts to come in, and you can't really do all of that, because it's like, let me get one, but then you start wanting to get the whole thing, but then it's like you're getting the whole thing for no reason, and again, always looking out, but there has been so many, and again, we're just only talking about Nike store stuff right now. We're going to transition to other phone experiences, but just with Nike, that was such a I've gotten so many good deals, and you mentioned it too. The not just shoes, just clothing and apparel, because phone era. There was a big chunk of, I could say there was the destroyer jacket era, and just getting the deals on the destroyer, like, for those who don't know, that's like their varsity style jacket, and just getting the Mamba destroyer on the low because it was sitting in Colorado, or I actually got some the China, because they had the different countries basketball edition, that like there, I think there's some Air Force that matched or whatever. Like I had the China edition, they had the panda, and then they had like the red and orange accents on it. Like I think that was one of my biggest hauls, because again, that might have been a Colorado, Utah random one where, and then like you're smart, the time zones, and then you be respectful to increase your chances, and you call in the middle of their daytime, and then it's just like, yeah, and then I was just like, what else you got? And then it was like, well, we got these others, and I'm just like, huh. So what is there a limit? Like, nah. And then I was like, I've heard that you might have the extra offer, a pair, because it's off season. It's the summertime. I'm ordering leather varsity jackets in the summertime, and then it's just like, nah, exactly, all season shopping. And then what do they do? Like 8 jackets later, and then throw in like 2 or 3 other like ACG, like the nice joints, cleaning up, you know what I mean? And then some of those I I did end up selling, because and then that was still like early stages of eBay, you know what I mean? So, but again, like people were paying like $400, $400 or $500 for the jacket. I'm just like, y'all just don't know how to buy, you know what I mean? So like those things, and I know one more I'll say that people are probably like, what, when you listen to this, and it's just like the LeBron 7. right? So think about what the LeBron 7 is in the lineage of the LeBron series or whatever. That's a pivotal shoe, right? That was the last one that he wore before he went to Miami. And you still won an MVP in that shoe. And then the way that was, that silhouette set up that Miami era, like that 7 has to exist before the rest of the Miami shoes to exist the way that they did. So that shoe ended up in the Nike outlet, and I bought it was like the white and black with the gold, and that was just like easy money, you know what I mean? And it was just a casual day. I heard about it, and in retrospect, it was just like, why wasn't I greedy and trying to buy? But at that time, it was just like, I just want my size, and then it's just like, it was more common to at least double up during that era, you know what I mean? So when you rock it and you stock it, so I rock one, and then I held on to them. I ended up getting rid of them years later because I was just like, after a while, the prices just got like stupid that people were paying. Where I was just like, fine, here, I'll sell it. You guys are idiots here. You know what I'm saying? Give me my $700. You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, and I didn't even pay retail, you know what I'm saying? And the last thing I'll say is, you just can't get away with that stuff anymore because, again, in my adult life, dealing with payment processing and compliance, maybe not have been the most secure thing, but we were just spelling out our cards over the phone, and then not like, is this a secure line where these things are recorded, and they say it may be or whatever depending on who they transfer, but you're talking to someone in the store that's at the real cash register. You know what I mean? They weren't sitting down at a secure because it's at the register. You know what I mean? So I don't know how they could pull things like that off logistically, because then they transferring you to someone that's in the back in the room, so sometimes you might talk to like 3-4 people and then get back to the first person to ring up the sale. So like those type of things where you just had to be patient. I don't even know if anyone has the patience to even sit on a call and go through these things, because we get irritated nowadays with the automated stuff, but like you did get transferred around a couple of times. Sometimes you might get the store to transfer you to the next store that you're calling. Like they might call you and then you stay on. I think that might have happened a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, here, we'll transfer you. So I don't know. But that Nike phone era, that's something special.
And Tony, the thing is, having the foresight of a lot of things, I learned from you to kind of just get the steal and double up, because you never know, because the shoe game is a cycle, as Nas will say, and it is. And I say that because I remember going to the Nike outlet in Mabin, North Carolina, right before you get right past Raleigh, before you get to Greensboro. $39.99 for the low top De La Soul Nike SBs. Because at this point, everyone is outraged because they are retroing that first line, but whatever was high, they made a low. Whatever was low, they made a high. And the denim joints that were low, they made a high, were $29.99. And like you, Tony, I said, why not? That's $100 for 4 pair of shoes. Why not? And it's funny, the timing of things. I'm saying to myself, during that time, dunks were deader than dead. And it was one point where I got an offer for maybe like $60 for them. I said, you know what, I'll just keep them. And I honestly forgot that I had them until I moved here to NY, and I'm in my storage. I'm just like, these 4 pair of dunks. And now, like you said, idiot, thank you, Travis Scott. You guys can have these. I'm sitting here like, it was not that long ago to where literally, I'm talking about, they had so many sizes. The lady was like, she gave me, I think, an extra 25% off just for getting them that day. Like, so,
he was like, here, you're doing us a favor.
Yeah. So again, that's the type of area we talk about, in which if you go into a store and it's slow, you're polite and so forth. And they're like, here, you can get an extra 20 off. We're going to have that promotion tomorrow. We'll give it to you today. So again,
again, that's how the phone order can start as well from you being in the store, seeing the deal for the first time, and then you got to have the thought and the know-how to be like, wait, if it's here, I should call somewhere else. So again, it's a mix and match of your experience so that you maximize the full mission. And like again, being younger, whatever, and then just going as you flow. It's just like, yeah, just holler at them, yeah, they up in like what I keep saying, like Utah, Mexico. Like I just remember like having to call them a lot, you know what I mean, and getting these deals in these
Riverhead,
these
New York.
spaces. It's like I got this, I got some Jordan 8s, then they were like Kansas City or something, or like, but then sometimes it's just like, oh man, because you've done this before, which it is. Like, I don't really want to call Chicago right now. If you know what that will experience, because again, the customer service, it didn't evolve in the best way over time as well. And then Atlanta might have been a little better, but
So
Chicago,
Chicago's all
you'll hold a
Chicago.
long time,
But
dog.
they always got everything, Tony. And that's one thing you got to mention. They
Yes.
got any Jordan that
That's
came
why
out.
you were calling.
Exactly. They got everything. So when you think about the most popular outlets, Chicago, definitely. I'm thinking about Kissimmee, Florida. I'm thinking about RIP to Perryville, Maryland. I'm thinking about, I mentioned Mabay, North Carolina. And believe it or not, a lot of my hits came from Riverhead, New York, for some reason, was just a gold mine. And I was like, yeah, I get everything. But there's also one that was in Canada, right outside, I think it was Ontario, I believe. And I'm just like, yeah, I get everything and no one knows. I was like, wow.
Nobody knows. And and that's the thing, like you share, but it was just like, meet me there, beat me there. You know what I mean? And again, some of these hub places, because again, like the South Carolinas that I'm talking about, because it's not just Nike that's there that have hubs down there or distribution places, but because then again, like and then you discover like that I'm calling Kissimmee because they get all the all the returns go down there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, wait a second. Like, no wonder some of this stuff is like this. And because especially when we cross into the, go back and listen to our Nike ID episode, we got into the Nike ID era. A lot of the IDs weren't, equitable unless they returned into that store. But if you return them online, or other shoes that were online, like, I can't say it went anywhere else but Florida. You know what I mean? Because that distribution, even with the, since it's the auto acquisition, I'll throw this in there, even the Rosses and Marshalls, Florida is on steroids with the stuff that they would notoriously get circulating through their whatever tier you want to call those stores, because that's part of the tier 0 time. And so it was weighted that with the stores and the outlets, because it was a factory outlet or a regular outlet that still kind of like existed as well.
Clearance store too.
In clearance stores. So just knowing the difference of who you're doing, and I think that was the level of what was available, so that you knew what was going on. So so just contacting, just calling around. You had to pick up the phone, you had to call, you had to wait, you had to be patient, but you had to be ready to scoop and score when the time was right. And you just had to be ready to have the conversation, because you get in there, you know what you want, and then and then you might have someone that's nice that turn into your personal shopper, you know what I mean? Because if they were savvy on the other end, they would upsell you and be like, well, we got this going on, or we got this. I remember getting the you remember the backpacks, and then the ones that and they changed the colorway to look like the Buzz Lightyear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Come on, man. I don't know why everyone liked that stuff, but it was, I'm calling stores to get a backpack, and give me all 4 that are left. You know what I'm saying? And come on, just I'm just just random things that just because there was so many of these deals, and it was just so natural to just Oh, I see that. Pick up the phone. So who else got it? Or call around, or you ask the store if they have time to look some up. I always try to be kind and just say, is there anything in our proximity? And then I will call and then ask about the national stuff on the phone. You know what I mean? So,
There you go.
but either way, that was just a little tip. But yeah, just before we get to the last part of this episode, OG, kick us off with a little flavor of just like some other phone order experiences outside of Nike, because you could call up your Foot Lockers and your Champs, in East Bay, Finish Line. Everyone was taking phone orders. So it was like, just give the audience a experience or two, and then
My,
we'll wrap this
my,
one up.
my thing was with the orders, Tony, was with apparel and clothing. And I was just a stickler for seeing the cheapest I can get it. So you mentioned Foot Locker, you mentioned Finish Line, and everyone was doing phone orders. But I would just say Sports Authority, and RIP to them too. That was like my go-to. For some reason, they would have things cheaper. It seemed like when you phone ordered it, then they would have it in the store. And the same thing for Models too. So for phone orders, as far as apparel went, and I was big on apparel, hoodies, jerseys, and so forth, Models and definitely Sports Authority, and RIP to both of them.
There you go. Got to go to Moe's. So,
Man.
I mean, there's so many different things, because again, when we're talking about the phone orders, when you were calling the Foot Locker, you were calling like the call center, or you could call to the store directly and order it. Like there was two different levels to it. So I just want to be clear. We actually don't have time to talk about all of it, but I just wanted to add that clarity, that sometimes you're calling the store directly to order it, which is the same concept of being in the store and then ordering it for them to ship it from home, from the Old Testament that's at the counter, right, with the binder that's laminated, and you can't go home with it. That'll tell you everything. And then you're calling the hotlines, especially on release date. That was probably more on the Saturday morning release dates, where you're, especially early internet release date time, where you're online and then you're on the phone, where either it's midnight or, then they start moving more stuff to 10 a.m. But online stuff used to be the midnight Eastern time, like religiously. So you had to be there when it dropped, or for those that still were around for the actual physical camp era. You know what I'm saying? You might have been camping and then on your phone trying to get it online, and then in another phone might be trying to call and you're on hold with Eastby at the same time, and then you wake up in the morning when the store opens and then try to get your pair there. You might have been all of that at the same time if you might have been really doing it, you know what I mean? But all of that, we just want to cover that, you know what I mean? Because again, it's clarity over popularity over here. There's all angles to the phone orders, and again, it was just a something that is going to be just a snapshot in time, because we're going another way. But the principles of the drive and the desire, I think that those are things that molded us, and that's why who we are. That's why how you became OG, and the Shark was formed as well. So but we'll see what type of things and obstacles, and so there's the trials and tribulations that anoint you into the sneaker stratosphere as well. So some of those hurdles, perception gets that the hurdles a little lower or whatever, still obstacles, but it's a little different.
All right, Pastor Shark.
I just had to say it because we want to make sure, again, it's clarity over popularity, right? No hate. We just want to make sure that you keep and preserve the essence of just doing what you want to do, not following the crowd, and putting forth the genuine effort and energy. Because when you go about it that way, you're actually contributing more to the community, because it becomes social in a good way, and you're not cannibalizing the whole situation, just trying to jump in and resell. It's pockets for that, but got to go find the deals. Other than you don't have to lowball everyone if you go take a little more time and find a better deal to acquire it, and then everybody can get a piece, right?
There you go.
So there you go. Final words from the OG.
Hey, just again, what a time to be alive. And because of who we are and how we take care of our stuff, I still have stuff till this day from 2007, 2005, particularly hoodies and so forth. You mentioned the Voyager jackets. I still have 2 of those from that era. I paid $40 for a piece. And every once in a while, it's good for it to be a good cold day. And I can just go back in time and wear those threads, because particularly with Nike and Adidas, the quality of their stuff is what it is. And now we're in an era where vintage clothing is really a huge deal. And I'm just glad that I took advantage of that era, no matter how broke I really was then, because I'm still enjoying that stuff now. So again, we talked the talk, we walked the walk, and we got the proof to back it up. So again, this podcast you cheer for, played over popularity, phone orders. You had to be there. You had to be there.
There you go. Phone order era, order acquisition. We can hang this one up. We got it. We got them. You know what I mean? So thanks to everybody tuning in for another, sneaker business talk session from the Soul Material crew. So signing off, it's T-Mark the Street Shark.
It's the OGEO.
All right. Till next time.
Peace to you.
See ya.